Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Hope your weekend was amazing. If you haven't done so already, please grab papers off the table on the way in today. Um, you can see I'm not here, but just because I'm not here doesn't mean that learning stops. So if you're going to go ahead, you're going to follow along on this video today, and you're going to complete an activity. Um, Make sure that you, like I said, are following along. You follow the directions that are up here in this PowerPoint. Um, and do whatever the sub tells you to do, and you will have a phenomenal day. Um, After you grab that paper that says Enlightenment Ideas in America, the American Revolution, you're going to label that page 10. You're going to put that in your binder. You're also going to need to grab your page 6 notes out, which you already have. You're going to take a couple notes on the American Revolution before you complete the activity today. Make sure you use your time wisely, because whatever you do not finish tonight is homework that is due tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So go ahead, and if you haven't done so yet, make sure you have got out your page 6 notes, because we're going to get rolling here. Like I said, our theme today is the American Revolution and how the Enlightenment influenced the American Revolution. Um, One big connection to, obviously, the United States is its Constitution. We use all the Enlightenment ideas of John Locke, of Voltaire, of Rousseau, of Montesquieu in our American government. And they help form our Constitution. And our Constitution is a form of a social contract. Remember, we talked about that the other day. Um, the ideas of the Enlightenment also influenced our revolution in America. Remember, in America, we rebelled against the British monarchy. We were upset about the taxation without representation. So, like John Locke said, we can rebel. So, in America, that's what we did. And spoiler alert, we won the American Revolution. One of the big ideas from Voltaire that we take is the idea of freedom of speech. Um, Huge in the Bill of Rights, the idea that we have freedom of speech in that First Amendment, and also the idea that people govern. That is big, big deal. Big deal in America. Another revolution that the Enlightenment affected, or that the Enlightenment caused, were revolutions in France and Latin America. Um, Enlightenment thinkers caused rebellions against misuse of government and corruption, wanted people to rule. And this is important for us because our next unit is on the French Revolution. And again, in France, they're going to use Enlightenment ideas to overthrow their king. So that brings us to today's activity. If you go ahead and turn to your page 10 and take a look at the activity, the first thing that you're going to do is read the John Locke passage along with me. You'll then pause the video, take 5 minutes, and answer the 3 questions. So let's take a look at this activity here. I'm going to toggle over to it. If you take a look at the activity, scroll up to the top here, Enlightenment Ideas in the American Revolution. And this first passage is from a guy named John Locke. We've read a little bit of him before, but here's what he says. The reason men enter into society is to protect their property, and the reason they choose a government is to make laws to guard that property. Certainly, society does not want to give the government the power to destroy the very property which it was chosen to protect. Therefore, whenever government tries to take away and destroy the property of the people or reduce the people to slavery, it puts itself in a state of war with the people. The people are freed of any further obedience to that government and have the right to establish a new government. So think about that. John Locke, right there in this document, is saying we have the right to overthrow the government when they do not help us, when they do not take care of our property, or they try to take away our property. It puts itself at war with the people, and that's exactly what they're trying to say. The people are allowed to rebel when the government breaks that social contract with the people. Now you want to take a couple of minutes, pause the video, and answer these 3 questions here. Number 1, what are Locke's views on the role of government? 2, is this a primary and secondary source? Make sure you tell me why. And then number 3, In what ways do John Locke's ideas represent a paradigm shift compared to the role of the absolute monarchy? And remember, a paradigm shift is a big change. So what is the change that John Locke is talking about? Moving from the absolute monarchy, okay? What is that big change? So pause the video, take 5 minutes, answer these 3 questions. All right, go ahead. Hopefully you've unpaused the video by now. You've answered the 3 questions. Let's take a look at this next passage by Thomas Jefferson. This is from the Declaration of Independence in 1776. This passage says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government." So, think about this for a minute. Sounds a little similar to our guy up there, John Locke, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to answer 3 questions about this. What are Jefferson's views on the role of government? Number 2, do you feel like he plagiarized this from John Locke or simply built on his ideas? Why or why not? Make sure you answer both parts of this question. And then number 3, is this a primary or secondary source? And then tell me why you think it is what it is. Go ahead, pause the video now. Take about 5 minutes. Answer these 3 questions. All right. Welcome back from unpausing the video. Last part here is an excerpt from a man named Martin Kelly. He wrote a book called Causes of the American Revolution. So let's read his excerpt here. The American Revolution began in 1775 as an open conflict between the 13 colonies and Great Britain. By the Treaty of Paris that ended the war in 1783, the colonies had won their independence. While no one event can be pointed to as the actual cause of the revolution, the war began as a disagreement over the way in which Great Britain treated the colonies versus the way the colonies felt they should be treated. Americans felt they deserved all the rights of Englishmen. The British, on the other hand, felt that the colonies were created to be used in the best way that suited the Crown and Parliament. Again, that's from Martin Kelly, Causes of the American Revolution. So now we want to answer these 2 questions here. I know it says for you to do it in groups, but you're going to do it as an individual today. We don't want to make the sub too angry by you getting too noisy. So, discuss the impact of Locke's ideas in the Declaration of Independence on the war. What would King George and the British Parliament have thought about these ideas? And then number 2, in what ways are the actions of King George in sending troops to the colonies to keep them under control similar to the military action taken by the Assad regime in Syria? If you're thinking about Syria, you remember right now Assad is the president of Syria, and he has sent in troops in his own country and are attacking his own people in his country because they want to rebel against him, because he is taking their property, he is using chemical weapons against them, against his own people in his country, and really just mass murdering all of them. Not a good situation in Syria. So think about that, and how does that compare to what we know King George did to the Americans by sending troops into America? Take about 5 minutes, answer these 2 questions here, and then you are all done for the day. You'll want to make sure you answer these questions. By now, Mr. Mohan should be here, so if you have a question about any of these, go ahead, you can ask Mr. Mohan. He will help you if you have questions, but you want to make sure you stay on task today, you answer these questions, because if you don't answer these questions today and you don't do this today, you will have to finish it for homework tonight. So please make sure you do it so you do not have any homework tonight. If you have any questions throughout the day, I am in the building. Feel free to email me. I'm just in a meeting. I will reply to your emails. Like I said, by the time you finish this, Mr. Mohan should be there, so you can also ask him any questions that you might have. Thanks for listening today, guys. Have a great day.